is Jimmy's podcast, season 9 of the podcast. We're coming back for more. I bet you never thought we'd last this long. Breaking news, show reviews, rubber boots reacts, and lots of social media crap. And if nothing else, you know we're gonna have a laugh. We're gonna have a laugh. This is the podcast.
So it's Puff and I, live from room 109 here at the Westin Doha. Sorry it's been so long. I want to start with a confession.
Oh, geez, that's a big start.
I have been, as you know, enjoying the Westin Doha buffet every day since I got here.
Yes.
The greatest single breakfast / lunch / really dinner buffet, because it has all 3 meals if you want it.
Yeah.
Buffet ever.
It
ever.
does seem. I've seen pictures.
I will get Stoff. I was going to post it to my own Instagram, but I thought it was too stupid. But I'll get Stoff to post it to the Rubber Boots Instagram when this podcast comes out.
It's fine for that.
I took like a 40-second video of everything at the buffet, and it's majestic. So when Brooksy, my lovely wife, she was here for the first 9 days and then left.
Yes, she was great. It was great to have her here.
Wonderful to have her here. I think the crew was really smitten with her.
Oh yeah, lovely lady.
Yes. She met Alfonso Davies.
Oh yeah, she did. They look like a power couple.
She didn't know who it was, but she
was in there like she did.
Yes, she was. More on Brooksy momentarily, but since she left, I thought I could bring.
Well, I was that next man up.
Yeah, I thought I could bring somebody to breakfast, but then I went down. They told me I couldn't. I'd have to pay the toll, and it's like 200.
200 real.
Real, which is like divide by 2.5.
It's like more like 3, I think. At least that's what I've been playing with.
Okay, so like $65. So
Yeah.
probably $70 for breakfast.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
yes. Pricey.
So as much as I was going to bring you to the buffet and
Yeah.
have you pose as my spouse, which would have
we would have probably would have
gone to jail for that, unfortunately, in this country.
That would have been an issue.
But they said I couldn't do that.
Which is fair. I mean,
Right.
so I feel for you more than anyone. 'Cause
Right.
You're eating alone now
Right.
at a buffet.
Well,
without food.
yeah, hold on, though.
What?
Well, then this morning I ran into Lindsay Hamilton, and I was on my way to breakfast.
Yeah,
so I felt compelled to invite her to breakfast, and I.
Well, yeah, but she's not your wife, so she can't go in.
No, she
Brooksy
did come, and I was going to pay for her.
Yeah. Oh, that's very nice of you.
And she said, "Would Puffy be okay with this?" And I said, "Yeah, as long as you don't tell him."
You son of a. And did she pay? Did you have to pay?
No. In the end, the person came to my said, "Mr. James," that's what they call me down there.
Yes.
It's great. I've been at the buffet. What day? How many days have we been here? You've been here longer than I. I've been here maybe 14.
Yeah, you're probably about 14.
Yeah. So they know I know the entire staff. I've been 14 straight breakfast buffets, and so they say, "Oh, Mr. James, how are you, Mr. James? What do you need this morning, Mr. James?" And
I've been through security about 15,000 times. They still don't know who I am.
and so the manager came over because I walked in. I said, "I'm bringing a guest today. I'll just pay for her. It's not my wife." And they looked at me funny, but Mr. James, what are you doing
Well,
here?
hold on. Here, maybe. 2 wives. A little respect.
But then the manager came over while we were sitting and said, "Mr. James, your room is still under double occupancy, so I'm going to allow you're going to get a free breakfast." So Lindsay got the free buffet that I've been promising you.
Yeah. So do you think there's any chance then I can get in there?
Well, I think so. I think we ought to try it, and I'm going to have to I'll just suck it up, and I'll just bite, and I'll eat it. I'll pay for it if they make me pay.
In fairness, though, what time's breakfast buffet end?
10:30.
See, I haven't hit 10:30 yet this trip.
So that's okay.
Yeah. So
you see, I get up every day at like 9 and go to the breakfast buffet at like 9:30, and I eat 4 days worth of food. But that's become almost my only meal of the day.
No, see, for me, I eat an orange for breakfast.
Okay.
And then maybe a plum, and then I don't eat all day, and then at dinner, I get a meal. Because we're working so much that it's hard to get meals in here.
I haven't.
Food's been good.
I haven't spent a lot of money on food. So you eat you get provided food.
No, then they
the
bring
thing.
food in for us, yeah, which has been
Right.
outstanding. Dregs has always said the NBC food was great. We jumped on the NBC catering here. Oh, amazing. They know what they're doing.
The only time I had the NBC catering was at the Olympics in London in 2012, and it was the weirdest thing. Did we have the pod in 2012? No.
No, that would have been pre.
That's 10 years ago, yeah.
That's long. But we have about 15 seasons.
Yes, we do. So, Olympics are a big deal for NBC. So you would be at the salad bar, and on one side you would be like, I think Regis was there.
Oh, okay.
Why was Regis there? He wouldn't work for NBC.
Yeah.
I feel like Regis was there. No, that was the ABC. But no, I feel like Regis was there, and then like Jimmy Fallon be on the other side of you.
That's a conversation I wouldn't want to be involved.
And then Costas, and be like, Costas, leave me from some damn romaine.
Hey, Costas loves Train at Denver. He loves them.
Oh, yes, I know and as well he should. Little ad Denver or
no, big
mini ad Denver.
Not mini one.
Yeah. So anyway, I haven't got one. I've never been really. I was at the studio the first couple of days. We did an Alfonso Davies interview, and I haven't really been there since. And people were asking me when we're going to pod. When's the pod happening? I barely have seen you.
Yes, I think at first they sort of said that I was going to be with you doing like the Canada practices and. But then once I got in the studio, they left me there.
They found your value.
Yeah, they did. No, I didn't have value at the other end.
I want to say this to you. I think that, the Puffy work value has been very respected on this trip. The analysts, the Kevin Kilbans, the Stephen Caldwells, they're like, Puffy is invaluable.
They're trying to get me to stay, but I'm like, I can't.
This might be your greatest professional moment.
I might end up getting transferred from hockey to soccer. There's negotiations going on.
Whoa. You can't leave Jimmy for that. But we've been together for the 2 Canada games, which were the bubble. I don't know what when you listen to this, probably it will be maybe the 3rd game will already have been played against Morocco, which doesn't really matter. I mean, if they got a result, it would be fantastic.
Well, it matters huge. It's that the result is. The goal was checkmark 1, results now checkmark 2.
That's the way we talked about it. When we talked about it before, and he said, realistically, what would be a successful World Cup for Canada? We said, got to score. Got that, and get a result. So even a draw.
Yeah.
And I think we said that. Get a goal versus Croatia or Belgium and get a result against Morocco. But the Morocco looks
tougher now, yeah.
And they're going to be fired up, so I think this is going to be hard.
But a lot of pressure on them, too. Canada could play loosey-goosey.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. Yeah. But the game might be over right now, so now we're talking into the future.
We really called that one 7-0 Morocco.
How about me calling the Davies goal? Did you see that?
I did. A couple of my buddies messaged that you had nailed that.
I mean, it's not really out of left field. It's kind of like Austin Matthews is going to score the overtime winner for the Leafs.
That's true. But it was but what a goal.
Yeah, it was. And I actually called it like for 3 days running. Like if you check my old Instagram story, and we were watching him at training. It was the night after the game, or 2 nights after the first game.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this guy and going, he misses the penalty. He's been taking a little bit of heat for taking the penalty.
It was a bad penalty too.
It was. And I just figured he was going to be fired up, and it was awesome and great play by Buchanan. But that was a great moment, and I'm glad I got to share it with you.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I said this on TSN Radio yesterday, so I don't mind saying it here, that, I went to journalism school, and you're supposed to be no cheering from the press box. Yeah. And I try to maintain that in everything I do. But once in a while, you cannot help yourself. And I think you and I just jumped up and hugged.
Yeah, we were pretty excited.
Yeah. I went to hug Kilban,
and we weren't in a press box. We were on a platform.
But everybody was. Janine was jumping up and down. Yeah. Julian was jumping up and down. It was. I'm so glad we got to see that moment. I'm glad Canada got to witness that moment. And the first game against Belgium was just I'm trying to think like butterflies, not butterflies, but like spine tingling kind of moments. That was up there in my top 5 or so in my career.
I was super proud watching the Belgium game because I was legitimately a little concerned. They're second-ranked team in the world, that it could have been a case where they just got kind of played off the park, and they were the better team that game. They deserved more.
Yeah. So what's our experience been like in Qatar? I'm gonna qualify this, of course, by everything coming here, all the human rights stuff. It's difficult for us, besides us saying, obviously, it's, ridiculous when women are treated as equals, when the gay and lesbian trans community is not treated that way. I think it goes without saying that we feel that way. Yes. And if all these migrant workers died building the stadiums, I felt awkward, certainly in the first few days in covering, because there's all these amazing stadiums that look gorgeous, but then what's happened, the cost of building them.
For sure.
So I kind of made a deal with myself that I would not say spectacular, stunning. That was just that's my own little personal kind of, not protest, even though they have looked that way.
Great facilities.
But here's the hard part for us and I'm just trying to give context to what we'll probably talk about in the next 15 minutes or so, is all you can go on is your own experience. Obviously, that's in the back of your mind here, but all you can go on is the people that you meet and what you go through. And I'm not going to speak for you, but it's been. I've had a really good experience here. All the people that I've met, whether it be migrant workers, there's a guy named Alex who comes in and cleans my room, who's from Ghana, who's like the nicest guy ever. I had a couple of conversations with him about it, and he personally, this is only one man's story, is happy to be here and just to be able to send money home to his family and everything. But the actual people of Qatar that you meet and the organization of the tournament, I mean, they spent $220 billion. So, but it's pretty smooth. Like we've been to Olympics and things where it's been a lot more of a disaster, and you get everywhere here smoothly. There's never a problem getting in stadiums, out of stadiums.
Uber rides are sensational.
Yes. The subway.
Subway is unbelievable.
Do you know, I didn't really know that they just built the subway also for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like the subway was built to get everyone to the stadiums.
Yeah.
Like they built an entire subway under the city,
and it's beautiful. Like it's smooth. The trains are fast and they get there quickly. And
so last night I go to the Portugal Uruguay game, and that was in Lusail. So Lusail is the big stadium where you'll see the final. It's 80. I think there was 89,000 last night.
That's awesome.
But so Lusail is also a town, like a little city. Not a big city. It's kind of like the Vegas Strip kind of thing. It's really neat. There's like little cafes. There's tons of people there. And there's like all these lit up buildings. But unlike the Vegas Strip, I don't think there's anything in the buildings. I just think they're lights. So it's kind of like a movie set that's not really real.
Well, that's sort of like, I mean, where we're at for our studio, we're in the souk. And sometimes you're looking out, it looks like a Hollywood soundstage, but then you go through it and it's like unbelievable there, like all this stuff, and it's like, but that's real. I don't know if you're saying these places, but
the souk. So the souk is if you see Luke or Lindsay hosting from the studio, and that's where all the main studios are. So we have ours, and you see that backdrop, and then like the BBC or whatever's next to them. All the main stations are there, and that is the first place I went to that feels like you're in the Middle East. So there's little windy little roads and all these craftsmen selling their, rugs, or for some reason there's a million birds. People sell a lot of birds in here.
The big thing.
I'm going to bring home a falcon. We should bring home a falcon.
Yeah, the racing falcons. They got the little hats. It's awesome.
Can we just take a falcon on a plane? One. Adopt it for the pod?
I think you can. Yeah, pod falcon.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But that place was apparently only built for this too. Like it's not.
I don't know about that, because the videos I've seen, like I was watching the documentary, and when they awarded Qatar the World Cup, you could see they had like a fan thing there.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I shouldn't say it wasn't just built for the World Cup, but it's not.
Been around 60 years.
No, because they make it look like whenever you go to any old European place, there's the Old Town, right?
Yeah.
So the souk is like the Old Town, but I think it was built like 15 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's maybe fair. Because, it definitely looks like it's probably been there a long time.
And they wanted to make it look like they had an Old Town as a gathering point. Yeah. So that's why they built it, which is, again, fascinating.
Good city planning.
Wow. Just imagine, though, like having that money, like to spend no one will ever be able to do this again unless the Saudis get the World Cup, which is rumored as well. But I don't know about that one either. But to spend $220 billion. Like they built an entire, like the sewage system they built, the subway system, and there's only 300,000 people that live here outside the migrant workers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is anybody?
When this is over?
I would like someone should. We should come back. We should ask to come back in like 2 months.
Yeah.
And just see what there'll be nobody on the subways.
But that's the thing. You'll be able to whiz around this city
like nothing. Yeah, it'll be amazing, because the only thing that keeps you from getting from place to place is traffic. There is traffic for sure, but But anyway, the people have been very nice, and I thought the World Cup's been run really well. Again, with the asterisk of all the other stuff that's gone on here. And at the Portugal game last night, I don't know if you saw it. Did they show it on TV? A man with
apparently they didn't show it on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't. We saw it on. They didn't. They cut away.
We should say what it is.
A guy ran on the field with like a rainbow.
Yeah, rainbow flag.
Rainbow flag, and then he had a shirt that said something about Ukraine, and on the back, I don't know what it said.
It was mad. And usually I hate those guys that jump on the fields, but this one he kind of got cheered for, and I'm like, damn right, buddy, do it.
Damn right, but it's not like when you run on Rogers Center.
It was
like,
he
might be. Yeah, who knows what happens to him?
I don't think they'll execute him because that wouldn't be. But I would like to read.
Someone should do a follow-up story.
That's what I'm saying. I would like to know.
Don't go to training camp. Get to find this guy.
I know, because there was stuff on social media that were like, "Great job, buddy, R.I.P." Then because,
well, like that is like. Not that it's a there's certainly
we're not no. We're not making fun of it whatsoever.
But it's true. Like when there's people here are acting a lot more respectful than they might in other countries and cities during a World Cup. Mm-hmm. One, alcohol sales is way down, which is going to.
Let me say something about that. I know that was a big kerfuffle back home, and I like to have a couple beers when I go to my game. But I think actually that it's a good thing, because you go to these games and it takes the out of it.
For sure.
And like everybody there, the coolest thing for me, I've never, even at Olympics, I don't find people come from all over the world for Olympics. It's mostly people, like if the Olympics are in South Korea.
Yeah.
Most of the people there are South Koreans. And the people that come are families of athletes or part of the training team, and some people might come. But the World Cup is different.
Way different.
And so when you're on that subway, you really are there with people from 50 different countries or whatever.
I take the Uber to the edge of the souk, and then I walk through. And walking from, it's probably a 10-minute walk to walk through it, because you're going to run into about 9 different countries' fans and a big pile of them singing and dancing. Like, it's amazing, where you would never have that experience at any other World Cup, because it's all spread out.
Right. Yeah, to me, that's the greatest thing, is that this is we were on the subway last night, Jules and I, Julie de Guzman, former Canadian captain, coming home from the game, and both of us, our phones pop with an airdrop of a photo, and it was the guy's nickname was the New King, and so I'm like, I'll accept it. Like, you got? Like, am I going to get a dick pic here? Yeah. What am I going to get?
Yeah.
And it was just like a meme of some little 2-year-old smoking.
Yeah.
But then there's a woman. There was an Indian woman sitting down, and she starts laughing because she saw me accept it. She goes, "I got it too, but I was not going to accept that just in case." And then I get another one from them. Like, all right, I'm playing along now, and I'm starting to look around the subway saying, "Who's the new king here?"
The new king. That's awesome.
But yeah, that's the whole worldly thing is really cool, and I'm eating all sorts of foods that I've not eaten in a while.
The food's been outstanding. It really has.
Well, I had a shawarma at the game last night.
In stadium
not
food,
so
terrible.
Good.
I had a hamburger. I had one bite and I threw it out.
Yeah.
But outside the stadium,
really
restaurants,
good.
Really good.
Excellent. But the beer thing, though, I just think everybody's nice and everybody's happy, and you're going to be pumped up enough for the game. Does it suck if you can't have a beer? But it totally takes the factor out of it.
Yeah.
And I just think in the stadiums it's been unbelievable atmosphere.
The one time that I think that it's bad is when I'm walking through and it's 1:00 and everyone's at their patio tables, the sun's shining, and you can tell they're desperate to have a couple beers.
Right.
But other than that, although in fairness, we have found alcohol in Goa. So.
Well, leave it to Stephen Caldwell and Kevin Kilban. They found an Irish pub called Shamrocks.
Shamrocks.
And by the way, Kevin Kilban might not be a massive name in Canada except for his work here. The place was full, I guess. I don't know if you were there at that time.
I was there, yeah.
And the owner comes out of the pub, and they're like, "Yeah, can we get a table?" And he goes, "Are you Kevin Kilban?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Come right in." And so we walk in, and there's a table of 12, and they just tell all these guys to move so we can sit down. These people are in the middle of their drink. Yeah, you'll have to leave now. Kevin Kilban's here.
Irish royalty has arrived.
It was amazing. So yeah, you can find it in our hotel too. Like Brooksy and I, Brooksy was having her wine. I can't even tell you how good the setup was at the beginning for us, because we checked in, and for whatever reason, people don't care about these details. It wasn't like your normal Westin experience where you get all your points and stuff, because it's booked through FIFA.
Yeah.
But then they found out that I was whatever it is, titanium or something. And so suddenly they're like, there's a lounge, you get the free buffet. The lounge in the beginning was open all day, every day.
Really?
So you go there for lunch, you go there for dinner, you go there for late snacks, unlimited booze.
Really?
Yeah, and so Brooksy was just having a festival because I'd go to work all day and I'd come back and she'd be all
she'd have
liquored up and no, not really. But then Brazil showed up at our hotel.
Oh,
and they took over the lounge.
They did, eh?
Yeah, so that was it for the fun. Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah. So what else? What else do we want to talk about? Should we do? We had a hypothetical, but I think it's kind of old now because we did that one at the game the other day. You were asking the panel. Mm-hmm. Do you want the first goal for Canada or a 0-0 draw so that the Morocco game mattered? And you, Kevin, in the States said you want the 0-0 draw. You wanted the goal. I
wanted the goal, yeah.
And why is that?
Well, for me, I was definitely afraid that they were not going to score. After the first game, I was like, if they don't score against Croatia, the way Morocco's playing, they might not score a goal. And I think it would have been a bit of a disaster if this team that's so talented came to the World Cup and didn't even get a goal.
Right. So that, I guess, let me put the question this way. So you sort of did. You assume that they're going to lose to Morocco.
Yeah.
So let's assume they lose 1-0 to Morocco for the purpose of this conversation before the Croatia game.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a 0-0 draw with Croatia or Canada scoring a goal and not getting any results?
Yeah.
And you took the goal.
Yeah.
There's that moment.
Yeah. And that's the
greatest moment in Canadian men's soccer history.
Yeah.
So I don't know though. Like a 0-0 tie with Croatia would have been a pretty damn good story too, right? To have that in your back.
For sure, and
especially in red. And after the game, you did say, "I think I would have taken the 0-0 draw."
Yeah, when it was 3-1, I was like, would have been nice.
You know what though? I think it'll be cool. Again, this is going to be all. If they get the result against Morocco, we're going to look stupid. But it would be kind of cool to get the first win in Canada in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean,
that World Cup's going to be a little weird because 48 teams. It might be Canada against Bahrain or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be. I have no idea how that's even going to play out. But I obviously would love for them to get a result this one. If they don't win and save it for the next World Cup, that's fine. But a result now would be kind of you don't want to come to 2 World Cups and go 0 for 6.
No, absolutely. The Camels, we forgot.
Oh, I was going to say. So we didn't go to Camels together. Or did we?
No.
Yeah, because you weren't
I wasn't
there
here yet.
Yeah.
You came before me. So what happened at your camel experience? Did you everybody posted their camels on Instagram?
I did not, because I was like, come on, like that's ridiculous.
Stupid,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
18 people posting camel stuff. But I had a little separation.
You did have separation, and I don't know if I saw your pic, but the guys were crushing you. O-Dog was sending you messages or whatever about, like, did you have some kind of, like, desert pics or something that were just ridiculous?
Like, ridiculous in what way?
Like you cool guy pics? Like you were, like, posing or flexing or something?
Probably. I have done those before. No, I think what happened is on the trip I went on, so the trip you went on was like the TSN staff who arrived early, right? Like Nicole, our fixer, our Mr. Wolf.
Oh,
and then like Lindsay and
all the guys were
Caldwell and all that.
Luke wasn't there, and Kevin wasn't there, and you weren't there.
Toss was there to St. Ricketts.
Yeah, he was there.
Right. And like camera crew, Shanetti.
Everyone. I think you guys were the only ones. You three were the only ones that are TSN staff that were there.
Okay, so the one I went on was our great boss Stu.
Yep.
He came. Stu runs CTV TSN, and he brought some clients.
Yeah.
Some valuable clients who supported the World Cup on TSN, and so they invited Kevin, Toss, and I to come because we entertain the clients, right? It's a laugh a minute. Toss and Kev tell them about their massive games against Brazil and Kevin in the World Cup, and talk about when I was 13 with the Gloucester Hornets and
your dad running
scored
2-2-7,
a 2-3-5, yeah, a 2-1-7. Yeah, so anyway, we had a professional photographer. So I think what I was referring to, so the photographer was getting the cool shots. So it wasn't about me having the cool shots.
I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, they looked like kind of artsy, like movie shots of all the camels in the desert.
Oh, so that would actually, then I would have liked to have had those kind of pictures.
Yeah, and I had a cool one too because I did a radio hit with them, or with the First Up with Korolnik and Kolyakovo, and it was like So I was just on my phone in the desert, but the sun was going down, and the photographer took like this really cool pic that I think I posted. It was like the coolest radio hit shot ever.
Yeah.
But my camel, like, we got there, and all the camels are lined up quietly, and this one camel's going, and I'm standing back, and the guy just looks at me and goes, "You." I'm like, "What?" I'm not getting on that camel. And he's like, "No, come." I'm like, "No, nobody's getting on that camel. You can't put me on that camel." And he's like, and so he gets me on the camel, and it gets up. It was okay.
It's pretty. When you go up, it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
it's like.
But then one of the clients we were with, the camels are attached to each other. So once we get on the camels, and they're waiting for everybody to board the camel to go out into the desert.
Yeah.
My camel is also the only one that doesn't have like the
mask on.
The mask on. What do you call it? Like
something to cover their mouth so they can't bite.
Yeah. So mine's the only one. The angry camel's the only camel that doesn't have that.
Yeah.
And we're attached, the two camels. So my buddy, my camel's face goes right up against his leg.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And the guy just left. The guy tied up the camels. I'm like, he's going to eat this. He's going to take a chunk out of this guy's leg. And he was terrified for like 3 minutes. But I actually really, like, everyone's saying the camel ride was kind of uncomfortable. It's just, it's just a Instagram op completely. But I enjoyed my camel ride. I felt like I was going no hands, and showing off to the ladies, trying to impress Brooksy.
Lindsay and Toss were the same. Like, they loved it. Lindsay was disappointed when we stopped it because we basically just went up a hill and then went back down. I was like, get me off this thing. Because I didn't have one of those backrests either.
Oh, okay.
And I was like basically hanging on for dear life. I was not comfortable.
I was like,
it was a bit of a nut cruncher because every time you kind of move forward, you just into the.
See, I watch Yellowstone a lot, and I think I look like one of those guys on Yellowstone. I had that thing ready. I could do tricks with it, anything.
Some people did look really comfortable.
Brooksy did not look comfortable. She was like you. She was like all forward, all hunched.
I looked like a jockey.
Yeah, and then there's. The pictures make it look like you're in the Sahara, in this, in the middle of the desert. The truth is you're like 200 yards from the road.
Yeah.
And also there's the next part of the thing is you go on these, you go in the SUVs and you go romping around. And the SUVs, while you're on the camels, are whipping by. Did you ever have a moment where the SUVs passed you and it's like a traffic light, except the SUVs don't stop?
No, I didn't know.
So like it's like traffic. So the camels are walking, and then the SUVs come by at like 50 miles an hour. And this one of the wives of one of the people on the trip was like, "No, stop, a camel." She thought she was going to get run over by a camel, which would have been hilarious. So the SUV thing, it's the actual cars like pick you up in town and bring you out there. Yeah. And then they have to take air out of their tires.
Yeah, they take about half the air out.
They take half the air out, and then they just whip around the desert. And that was really fun, although we did it for like 45 minutes. I was starting to get a little dizzy.
Yeah, we had tunes going on ours, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, our driver was psycho, but Brooksy didn't like that because she gets sometimes the vertigo sometimes. Yeah. But
did they take you to the edge of and then the water, and then the other side was Saudi Arabia?
No, I don't think they took us that far.
Oh, they took us. That's where they took us, and they're like, over there, Saudi Arabia, and we're like, oh, let's turn around.
But the thing I was most pumped for was they also had the snowboards to go sand.
See, we didn't have that.
So yeah, they took us to a different place where we had dinner.
You must have the VIP.
I think it was very VIP-ish. We're trying to please the clients, and. I was all pumped about that because I was a bit of a snowboarder before I had all my concussions and I had to stop snowboarding. But I figured I'm not going to get hurt in the sand. So I imagined myself like just carving my way down this mountain.
No.
And it was a pretty steep hill. Like they probably take you. It was only like maybe like a 40-yard hill.
Yeah.
50-yard hill, but steep.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this is going to be intense, but I can carve a little bit. The most disappointing thing the sand goes all over the board.
Yeah.
I couldn't get going more than like a mile an hour.
Oh, okay.
It was like a 3-year-old on a bunny hill. Yeah. Right? And you're having to like push to get going. So I guess you can carve maybe if you're maybe an expert snowboarder on a longer hill. But I got a photo, so I kind of looked cool.
That's good.
But it was terrible.
And did you go in the water?
I just waded in with my feet because you told me a bunch of people got stung by jellyfish.
Yeah, we got hit by jellyfish. They're just little ones, so it was more just annoying than painful. But they were out there.
Did someone have to urinate on somebody else?
That was just for fun. That was nothing jellyfish.
That was in the room later.
Yeah, that was like 3 days later.
I went out in the water. I don't even know if I told you this. I have a friend who lives here.
Yeah.
So it was actually Mark Ward's high school girlfriend. So
I have stories.
Yeah, we should have her on, Sarah. So these two.
Hold on, Sarah. What? This is the first time
Sarah Curley.
You mentioned a woman from your past.
You can actually leave this probably. Soft doesn't even have to beep this because it's not one of my ex-girlfriends. So we had two twin brothers, James and John Curley, who moved to Ottawa. They were military kids, so they lived everywhere.
Yeah.
And they basically took over our high school. They were the funnest guys. You would have loved them forever.
Yeah.
And their older brother, George, a year older, he was super fun. I'll tell you two George Curley stories in a second. And Sarah was the younger sister, maybe 2 years younger.
Just screams Mark Ward.
It really did.
So you got a sister, eh?
That's basically
Get my guitar.
That's so right. And so, and anyway, we stayed friends after. So Sarah lives here because her partner is with Qatar Airlines.
Okay.
And she actually loves living here, which is an interesting take from her. We went out in the water. They rented a boat. So just early in the morning because I didn't have much time before work. And they had one of those, we rented those, the things that you hold onto in the water and it propels you underwater?
Underwater? Oh, those things?
Those
from
people,
Scooby-Doo?
People can't see what you're doing on the pod. But yeah, your little jet things. So I don't know what I'm supposed to call them. You see them on the videos where you're swimming with your arm out length and it's a little thing that's about the size of
like a little tank.
It's like a little tank and it pulls you along. You pull on a hyper
that
mode.
would have been awesome.
Oh, it was amazing. Except I thought, it's one of those things where you think you're going super fast, and then you see the video and you're not really going super fast. You think you're Aquaman.
Yeah.
But that was really cool. So,
did you see anything in the water?
Just the odd fish. It was just it wasn't like a reef or anything like that.
Yeah, we were thinking with a lot of the oil and stuff.
Maybe it's not the cleanest water in the world.
I don't know if the fish would be plentiful.
So, George Curley was. The Curleys were unbelievable. James went on to be the CEO of TaylorMade.
Oh, wow. And how's he not your best friend?
Well, he's actually, I think he's really good buddies with Trudeau, as in friends. They'll go for drinks when he comes in town.
Really?
But then he went to become CEO of Levi's Jeans.
Oh, wow.
And now he's the CEO of Gibson Guitars, and he lives in Nashville.
Really?
And he's the if you're picturing a CEO in your head right now, it is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Just the most laid back, guitar playing kind of guy.
Yeah.
And John was the crazy one. So James, then they're identical twins. So in high school, if they had a project, let's say you had to memorize a Shakespearean sonnet, only one of them would do it. And then they'd go in and then leave and they'd change clothes and the other guy would go in and do it.
No way.
Oh. They just stir up so much crap. But John is one of the great disturbers I've ever known in my life. So when James was the CEO of TaylorMade, they were at the British Open. And John was there, just being John. Yeah. And James is just don't be an okay? Don't do anything stupid. But he was decked out in TaylorMade gear, the pants and shirt. And you know how the trucks would be right, the TaylorMade and Titleist truck would be right next to the driving range?
Yeah.
So James is in there or whatever, talking to clients or whatever, and then he looks out, and John is on the range with a club, signing autographs like he's a player. So there's the line, Rory or whoever, they're all lined up, and there's John with the driver going signing kids' hats and everything.
That's awesome.
And George, we were at, this goes way back, but we were at a Clash concert I might have told the story on the pod one time. We were at a Clash concert in Ottawa, so we're talking late 80s or something, or mid 80s or something like that. And we lost George. And we're where the hell's George? I think we're in general admission or whatever, right? And all of a sudden look up on the stage and George has jumped on the stage and is at the mic singing with the Clash. And if this had happened today, he'd be tackled in 3 seconds and arrested. But back then, I don't think they knew what to do, or they didn't have the bodyguards. So he kept waiting to get grabbed, and nobody grabbed him. So he just kept on singing. He kept on singing, and I don't know who's the Clash leads, Joe something or other. Yeah. And he was putting his arm around him. They're singing a song, and then
probably a good band.
And then George realized he didn't know the words, so he just jumped into the crowd and crowd surfed or whatever for a while.
Awesome.
Anyway, those were the Curleys, and it was wonderful for me to catch up with them. I had an A-hole or A-OK, but it's going to be A-hole, so you can play the theme music.
Is it A-hole? Okay.
This was my most embarrassing moment in Qatar, and I'm not proud of this whatsoever, but I share everything on this pod. I went to go pee at the game before the broadcast of the Canadian game. And the security, I didn't have my pass with me, and the security guard, I thought might
and
not.
they were tight in there.
Yeah, I thought they might not let me back
tight.
in. So he was turned towards the wall. I thought he might have been on his phone or something. So I'm like, Bud. He doesn't turn back. I'm like, Bud. So I give him like a little like tap on the shoulder. Bud. So and then I like almost like grab his shoulder to turn him around, and he's frigging praying. And I was so embarrassed, and I feel honestly, I felt so much shame in that moment. And I went back and found him later.
Yeah,
like
well, that's good. That's
good.
I
I just said, I'm so sorry. Like I hope I didn't offend you or whatever. And I don't even know if he remembered. I think when they get so deep in prayer.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's the most sanctimonious part of their day. And like they do it everywhere, right? Where they stop at whatever time to do it. And oh my God, I'm a guest in this guy's country. And I just freaking went up and interrupted him in the middle of prayer. So I want to apologize to the...
but an innocent move.
It
wasn't done with like, it wasn't like you saw him like praying and you like pushed him over.
I would never do that, but it actually ruined my day that I did that. So apologies to that gentleman.
Hold on, that ruined your day?
Funny. So funny. We'll talk about that on another podcast. So it's been a trip here.
It has, but we're coming down to the final few days here.
You go home with me, right?
Yeah, I'm on the Friday night.
Brooksy, not a good flyer generally.
Yeah. And
not a good sleeper on the plains.
Okay.
But she took...
well, she has her medicine. She was like a pusher. She's like... I've been struggling. I still haven't fully adjusted to...
Sleeping's been weird.
The time, yeah. Like a lot... Well, partly is I've had a lot of late nights.
Right.
And then... part of it is just it's a big time change.
What do you mean a lot of late nights? What do you mean? Like I've been you've been working hard. I'm not going to say I've been working my ass off because I've probably had an easier gig just covering Canada. Yeah. Some of the days are shorter.
Yeah.
But I haven't been like, there's so much prep involved in doing the games that I haven't been, you've been out like to the clubs?
Well, we have in our hotel, we have a bar, like a club bar. It's like
Dancey? Have you been doing the Dancey?
No, there's been no Dancey because it's been busy, I think, during the games.
Right.
But we don't roll back until a half hour.
Is it still going when you get back?
There's people there, but it's quieter.
So you just go
in there
beers.
and have some beers, and then sometimes that leads to like more drinks after in someone's room. So it's like it goes like...
Whose room do you go to?
Well, I don't know. I don't really remember whose room it was.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it was somebody. It was not a person that we work with, but they probably don't want people to know.
Oh, I see what you mean. And it's just a bunch of
a few
because you made it sound like you were having
No, nothing like that.
No, it would be like
work people.
Work guys to kind of have a couple of drinks within the room.
But sometimes they go late.
Right. So, I think people can figure it out.
Yeah. It won't be hard to figure out who I could possibly be having
drinks with until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Let's just say there's shades of like Game 5 of a Stanley Cup final with some of the people.
Yes, they're unbelievable. Well, and granted, because of the sleeping, and you often don't have to go to work till 4 or 5 o'clock. So and there's not a ton else to do because it's hot outside. Yeah. It actually hasn't been hot as I thought.
I've only had a few moments. My buddy Ho is here. Mm-hmm. Ho, we all know Ho.
Of course, we talked to Ho.
And he was here.
You should have had him on the pod while he was here.
I know. Well, I barely saw him. I saw him at the Canada game, and then we went for lunch. And we went for lunch one afternoon, and it was hot. That was one of the only times I felt it.
I felt the first couple of days, but when the breeze comes up, it's not bad. And the evenings are actually
beautiful,
very decent.
Beautiful.
What were we talking about? So Brooksy got the prescription for those pills that you're supposed to make you relax you on the plane.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if she took like 9 or something, but the plane ride home is 14 hours.
Yeah.
And she said that she refused dinner, which they give you. We're going to have to make a decision because they're going to ask you to have dinner at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
I never turned down the dinners, but she refused dinner, took the pill, woke up 2 hours from Toronto.
Wow.
Slept like 11 hours. And then she was kind of on time because when you get back to Toronto, it's like 8 in the morning because of the time change.
So she just slept woke up at 6.
Yeah, so Brooksy's
That's, I think, going to be my move. I'm also really worried. I can't find my headphones. And that's going to be a 14-hour flight without headphones. It's going to be a disaster.
I will confess, I almost had on the way here.
I stole your
I stole your headphones. I have them. I almost did what people at TSN would know as a Mark Masters on the way here. I'm not sure our listeners would be aware that once upon a time on a trip. Mark Masters brought his wife.
To Europe.
Was in business class. I don't think it was Europe. I think it was just across U.S. North
Oh,
America
was it?
thing.
I thought it was the World Juniors in Europe.
I think it was a Stanley Cup final thing or something. And left his wife back in economy.
Yeah, which is fair.
And he was roasted about it for a long time.
Yeah.
So when I decided to bring Brooksy, we fly here in business class.
Yeah.
TSN takes good care of us. But they're not going to fly Brooksy in business class. They don't love us that much.
Yeah.
And the flights are like $7,000, $8,000 business class.
I'm sure they're
right?
very expensive, yeah.
So, but I have a lot of credit things.
Apparently.
So I said, Brooksy, we'll book you in premium and then I'll upgrade you.
Look
But
at
there was
you.
a problem with the. Did I talk about this in the last pod or?
I don't think so.
And I found out like 3 days before I couldn't upgrade her. So now like panic was setting in. And Brooksy was very good about it. You know, I might give her a hard time, but she's like, "Don't worry, I'll be fine."
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, "No way, I can't. I will have to take the premium seat. You'll have to be in first class. I have to be a gentleman."
Yeah.
But in my head, I was saying, I don't really want to
No,
do
you're
that.
gonna just pretend you're sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Jennifer Hedger one.
Hope that works out for you, Jen.
We told that one, right?
Yeah,
I don't have to repeat it. If you missed that episode, flying to London for the Olympics, Jennifer and I are in pods in first class. Jennifer's pod is broken. And the person's like, you have to go to the back. And I'm like slinking down to my pod. And then some total stranger goes, Jen, I'll give you my pod. And she's like, really? You do that? And the guy goes back to like economy. And I'm like going, I'm a horrible person. Yeah. So anyway, we put in the bid. I've never bid for the upgrade before. So you can bid on Air Canada. You can say, I'll pay $1,000 to get upgraded. And I think
could I put in like a $10 bid, or is there a minimum
it's
bid?
like a minimum like 500 or something like that. But considering $8,000, if you bid 1,000, you're doing pretty good.
That's pretty good.
So Brooksy checked like the day before the flight, and she's like, all the seats are gone. And I'm like, oh God, I'm never going to live this down. And there's going to be other TSN people on the flight, and they're going to see me leave my wife in premium, or I'm going to have to go back to premium, which will be worse. And so spoiled.
No pictures.
It's just ridiculous.
No pictures.
I cannot be here. But then she got the upgrade, and so boom, I was back in.
Were you guys sitting beside each other, or were you in different?
Yeah, we were right across from each other.
Oh, that's very
It's kind of romantic.
Very nice.
So we'll fly home. We're on the same flight. We'll hang out
I think
together.
so. Yeah.
Maybe we'll meet next to each other. We can.
No, I'm not at the front of the bus.
Excuse me. You're not in first class.
I'm in the premium economy.
Now I feel embarrassed.
So maybe you should switch with me.
Maybe should that be a? What's it?
Okay, you have flown at the front of the bus many times. I have never flown in a pod before.
You've never had a pod?
Never had a pod experience. Oh, this could be something you could give me a pod experience.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
There's not even a consideration.
No, but it would be like a good. Maybe that should have been the A-OK.
In fairness, my seat was
like if it was 5 hours, I would do this for you. If it was 7 hours,
hold on, don't say that because I'll remember this. Because remember, we fly and you were in the pods.
If it is under 7 hours, I will do that for you next time.
So if we're going to Vancouver,
yeah, I will do it.
No chance.
I will do it for you.
That's right.
If you're on the same flight.
You'll make sure we're not on the same. You're like,
what flight is Puffy on?
Like, dude.
But I can't. 14 hours, I can't do. I can't just sit in my seat.
It was surprisingly comfortable.
Look, you know that I know I'm spoiled. Like I admit it to our people. I fully admit it. I give back in other ways.
Yes, you do. You do.
It's been fun, and the next time we talk to you, we will be back with the guys. Oh, did they do the Lester and Stoff show while we were gone?
I'm not sure.
Maybe it'll be like the biggest hit, and we'll be already out of the pod.
We're already out.
Although by past experiences, I don't think so.
It usually goes to about 5 minutes long, and then they
it's a joke. They need us. Thanks for listening to the one and probably only ever episode of the Guitar Rubber Boots Pod.
Hey, how are you? I got a question that I really want to ask you. Wait, don't hang up. I need to know, so I'm gonna try and push my luck. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? And do you like the dunk tank? at the fair. I know it's a little strange, my obsession with your choice of footwear in the rain. I know that you're on TV, but I need you to put your boots up on the desk for me. Are you wearing your Hawaii boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your Hawaii boots tonight? And do you like the dunk tank at the fair? This is the part they call the bridge, a bridge has water under it. With rubber boots you can wade in the water. Just don't fall in. Are you wearing your Hawaii boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, blue, black, or white? Are you wearing your Hawaii boots tonight? And do you like a dunk tank at the fair?
Do you like the dunk tank?
At the fair.
The dunk tank, the dunk tank.
At the fair. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? No, seriously. Are you wearing your rubber boots? Don't hang up, please. Somebody? Hey? Hey? Anyone?